We have a special episode for you. We are featuring a 1957 Ducati 125 Gran Sport. What I'm going to do today, I'm just going to tell you, I found a really good article on this motorcycle, and honestly, I don't think I could tell you about this bike in a better way than this article could. So I'm just going to be doing like a little live reading here. But first, I just want to give you just a quick little tour of the belly tires, the Ducati stock exhaust from 1957, hand-formed, Ducati on the engine case, the overhead, your tank, and your original Ducati 125 badge. I'm going to show you the speedometer and everything in a little bit, but let me tell you about this article real quick. Let's see. Yeah, so this is from infomoto.com.au, and again, I just, for fun, I was just reading some articles and I found this and I was like, I got to spread the word on this because it is a good article. Credit to the author, Ian Falloon, June 15th, 2023. But here we go. Ducati's reputation has always been built on racing success, and it began back in 1955 with the 100cc Gran Sport. After a competing brand soundly beat the overhead valve Ducati in 1954, Ducati lured the great engineer Fabio Taglioni away from Mondial and commissioned him to design a new motorcycle capable of winning the 1955 Moto Euro. I could be pronouncing this wrong, guys, so forgive my English here. The result was the magnificent Gran Sport. This advanced design formed the basis of all the overhead camshaft singles through 1974. Many of its design characteristics continuing to be featured on some of the current engines from Ducati. So say the bevel gear, bevel drive. It's amazing. Yeah, the article says, these bikes were unbeatable. Fabio Taglioni, the lead engineer's contract, was extended and his association with Ducati would last 4 decades. The Mariana, which is this bike, subsequently developed into the double overhead camshaft racers and the magnificent Desmodronic singles, and it was also a cataloged model. Although available in limited numbers from 1956, there was a 100 and 125, with a 175 beginning in 1957. So this is really the amazing part. I'm just going to stop for a second. I have a 250cc Suzuki TU250, and it is rated at 18 horsepower. This motorcycle from Ducati, a 1957 year model. Let's just take a look at this bike. Keep in mind, these are drum brakes, obviously, all around. So here's where you guys have heard of Mike Halewood. There's Mike Halewood, signature model Ducatis, that sort of thing. We're going to continue with the article. The Desmo Ducati nearly won the 1958 125cc World Championship, with Ducati finishing a close second to MV Agusta. The next year, Mike Halewood won his very first Grand Prix, the 125cc, on a Ducati Desmo single. Is that unreal or what? Can you imagine? Guys, imagine being at that race. Imagine you're in Italy or wherever this race was, and you're watching Mike Halewood race his 125cc Ducati. Continuing on, sorry, I got excited. The basis of the Gran Sport engine was its vertically split aluminum unit construction crankcase with an aluminum cylinder with a cast iron liner. It was inclined forward 10 degrees, as we can see there, A single overhead camshaft driven by a set of bevel gears from the crankshaft and two valves set at an included angle of 80 degrees. All the bearings were ball or roller, and incorporated in the crankcases was a 4-speed gearbox, driven by primary gears with a wet multi-plate clutch. Guys, keep in mind this is 1957, okay? This was engineered in 1957. Ignition was by battery and coil, with the points driven off the lower bevel gear on the right-hand side. This engine was then placed in a singular down tube steel frame and was utilized as a stress member. All these features from the race bike made their way to the eventual production version, most evident on all single and twin cylinder Ducatis through model year 1980. The success of the Gran Sport was such that engineer Toglioni was allowed to adapt his advanced single-cylinder overhead camshaft engine for production. Initially 175cc, most motorcycles of the period featured overhead valves operated by push rods. While there is little to separate the 125s from the dozens of other Italian motorcycles at the time, the overhead camshaft provided exceptional performance. The 125 Sport has a 55mm bore and a 52mm stroke with double overhead camshaft Grand Prix races. The 125 Sport has a 8-to-1 compression ratio with 20mm carburetors, produced 18 horsepower at 8,500 RPM. Rolling on a pair of 17-inch wheels, the diminutive 100 kg 125 Sport was capable of around 112 kilometers an hour, quite a bit more than most 125s at the time. It says with this carburetor, it produced a modest 10 horsepower at 8,500 RPM, the road bike. Let's see. As for styling, it featured a sculpted tank which mimicked the racing versions. This was the first production Ducati that looked like the racing bikes, and it established a model that has served Ducati well for over 65 years. It finishes with, although the 125 Sport remained a popular model, particularly in Italy, until 1965, the writing was on the wall for smaller capacity Ducatis. The public, then as now, wanted larger engines with more performance, but what hasn't changed is their thirst for factory race replicas. So that's pretty cool, guys. That's the end of the article. And, you know, my question really is, when will we see another bike like this from Ducati? This is just absolutely beautiful. I bet this would get people into motorcycling that may not be interested in a big multistrada or just a huge monster. So, Ducati, if you're watching, maybe make something like this again. That would be so cool. I would most certainly buy it. I don't have a time machine, so I can't go back in time and buy another one. But this one's here with us, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm just going to end with a little tour of the bike, so we're just on this side. So we're going to get up. cool. So I'm 6 foot, 200. Let's just get on this bike, see what it looks like. This is just awesome. You know, if Ducati made something like this again, I would immediately buy it. This is so cool. Look at the spit. It's on its stance and gently. This is cool. I'm loving it. Well, thank you everyone for viewing. I really appreciate you. If you like this video, so go ahead and subscribe. There'll be more coming. And, you know, maybe send Ducati an email. Say you want a 125, a 250, a 175. Let them know. Let's see if they'll do it. But I would love if they did. Thanks again for watching, guys. You all have a great weekend. Bye-bye.